Hi everyone, it's Michele and Bayleigh, and we're going to make textured watercolor paper to make a collage after we make our papers. So the basic things that we really need for most of these is your paper, watercolor paper, a brush, and paints, watercolor paints. Cup of water to rinse your brush. I have a spray bottle so that I like to spray my paints. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm just misting them. Makes them run better. I also have paper towel to dab my brush on. And let's get started on our first textured paper. So this technique is called wet on wet. And so what we're going to do is put wet paint on wet paper and take our squirt bottle, or you can take a wet brush and we're gonna spray the entire paper or wet it with your brush. After that, just pick some bright colors and watch them just bleed onto the paper. And it doesn't matter, we're not trying to paint anything. We're just trying to have fun. Make some textured paper and some different shapes and you can pick as many colors as you want. You don't have to fill up the whole page if you don't want. It's your paper. There is no wrong. My paper's so wet it's folding. I'm gonna put just a little bit of yellow right there. I'm actually gonna spray it with the water bottle and see what happens, just for fun. I have a little bit too much water. You can always sop it up with a paper towel. And I am done with this piece. I'm gonna sit it to the side and let it dry. And let the watercolor paint do its job. I'm working on a placemat for contrast. So another texture that we can do, we're going to have the same supplies, your paint, your paper. I have another piece of paper, and my brush, my water, but this time I have my salt shaker, or you can have little packets of salt. I don't know if you can see that. Let me put it on the blue. That you pick up at the store, a single serving. Any salt is fine. I have a special salt shaker just for painting. But that's me. So the only thing that I'm adding to this from the last one is salt. I like to wet my paper. It makes the colors blend a little better, makes those starbursts. And then I'm just gonna add some color. Again, it's just feel free to paint wherever. There is no wrong. And then for this one, you're going to take salt and you're going to sprinkle it on top. Be generous. Remember, if you spill it, it goes over your shoulder. And then this one is going to be set to the side. And for our next texture is one of my favorite tricks. It's using plastic wrap. So all I do to start before I start painting is make sure that the end is out because it's tricky. So I just have the end out on my plastic wrap. And then I'm just gonna put it to the side for now. Because this is one of my favorite techniques, I'm gonna do 2 pages at the same time, and I'm gonna put plastic wrap on one and I'm gonna flip the other one over and make it a sandwich. But I'll show you how I do that. But what you need to know is that I'm gonna paint 2 papers at the same time just to make a sandwich. I'm gonna again spray my paper, just a little, and then add my color. Oh, my paint's a little bit dry, so I'm gonna spray it. Painting right off the camera. Now I'm just adding color. Any color, doesn't matter. This one I try to paint quickly. I don't want it to dry because I want to make sure to get the saran wrap on there while it's nice and wet. Next one, add some color. Add some green. I'm also dipping my brush in the water in between colors just to get most of the color off. They're still mixing a little bit, and that's okay. So there's my 2 paintings. I'm gonna rip off a small piece of saran wrap, a plastic wrap, that will cover about one of the pages. And it's okay that it sticks to itself because we want it wrinkled anyways. So this is the one time I don't mind using plastic wrap. And I'm just gonna put it down on one of the pages and squish it. See how it's making wrinkles. But before I put it to the side to dry, I'm gonna flip over my second painting right on top. And I made a watercolor plastic wrap sandwich that's now going to the side to dry. And now for some more fun textures. This time, I'm not going to spray my paper. I'm going to leave it dry. And I'm going to splatter paint. So I'm going to take my brush. I have another brush here. You don't have to have 2 brushes. This is just something that you can tap against to help with the splatter. You can also use your finger. You can also flick the bristles like this. I'm choosing to use this method, whatever works best for you. So first thing I'm going to do, and I've never tried it with this watercolor brush, so this will be an experiment. I'm going to get some color. Sorry about the traffic. And I'm going to tap, tap, tap. And it splatters on my paper, me, and the table. But it makes a nice texture. I'm gonna go back and maybe get this color. Whoops. Splatter some more. A little green. Remember, there is no wrong. It's art. Splatter again. keep forgetting to rinse my brush, but that's okay. That's what makes it homemade, when the colors get muddy. I think I'll add one more color. I picked yellow, but it's not really showing up, but I'm still trying. Maybe you can see it. There's my splatter painting, and I'm going to put it to the side to dry. For the next one, I'm not going to wet my paper again, and I'm not going to use a brush. I'm going to use a sponge, or a piece of a sponge, or a whole round sponge, whatever sponge you have. It can be a piece of a kitchen sponge. I've used a sea sponge from the ocean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the corner of the sponge, dip it in my wet paints. Remember, I sprayed them, so I get some color on. There's the color. And I'm gonna make a texture with the sponge. Sorry about the interruption, my cat ran away. But he's safe now. So now I'm gonna get more color, which shows up. I guess it does. I'm gonna add more color. The thing about using a whole sponge is you can keep turning it until you find a clean spot, and then just rinse the whole thing off after. If you want to, you can get your sponge a little wet. That makes your blotches a little looser, blends the colors a little more. You can also be really adventurous and splatter paint on top of this. That would be wild. Just add a couple more daubs, and then this one is going to the side. Now I'm gonna splatter. Now I'm gonna put it to the side. I'm gonna make another one and splatter paint on it. This one's going to the side to dry. Hope you guys are having fun. Just a few tips before you put everything away. You'll want to make sure that you leave your watercolor paints out open overnight, or if you're at the morning during the day, to make sure they dry. You don't want to close them up wet. That will ruin your paints. Another little tip, when you're rinsing your brush, if you rinse it in a figure 8 shape, it helps to get all that paint off. I also use a little bit of warm water and a drop of soap. So now all of our paintings have dried, and it's time for the big reveal. We have our salt painting, and what you want to do is just gently brush all the salt off. And I'm outside, so I can brush it right onto the ground, and you'll see there's texture there. This is one I did, and you want to do, I don't know, maybe 10 different paintings, just different textures, different techniques. Have fun with it. There's another one I did. Here's the sponge painting dry. Let's see. And this is the splatter painting. And now here's the sandwich. I haven't taken it apart yet, but all I'm gonna do is take it apart and look at all that texture from that plastic wrap. Take the plastic wrap off, throw it away. See all the texture that's left on there? Just is so pretty. And I have some more paintings that I've done earlier and I've started collaging with. Here's a splatter painting and sponge painting mix that I did. This was a wet on wet, I think. but you want to make sure you have a good variety to choose from because we are going to collage next. So I hope you enjoyed your big reveal. So now we're going to work on a collage. And for the background of your collage, what you want to do to start is you can pick a full piece of paper that you just enjoy, or you can start with a fresh piece of paper and build off of that. What we're going to do with the collage is think about something that inspires you. I'm usually inspired by nature, so I tend to go to mountain scenes or the ocean or something like that. And we're going to look into our paintings and just create. You can create animals, you can create a water scene. What is fall? You can create leaves. What is your artwork saying to you? So what we're going to do to create, there's no scissors involved in this. When you create, you're going to take your paper and you're going to rip and make found art. You will notice if you tear it one way, you will have a white edge, which you can use. And if you tear it the other way, there's no white edge. So I'm going to work on my collage. And I usually set mine out first, and then I glue it down with a glue stick. I'm going to work on my collage, and you can work on yours, and we'll see what we come up with. So I have some placements that I like, and Bayleigh brought me a glue stick. Thank you, Bayleigh. So now I can start to glue some down because it's windy and I don't want them to get blown everywhere. So I'm just gonna start to glue. And I'm gonna keep working. And my collage is almost done. And I just want to incorporate some marker. You can do this, you don't have to. I'm just feeling the need for some multimedia. So I'm going to put in some marker. And here is a collage that I just made. And I also have another one that I made earlier. I hope you enjoyed this. Have fun. Bye.